everyone. Today we're going to talk about Motherboard, a soon to be launched all in one DAO tooling super platform. Let's get started with our guest, Che. I think it's your second time come to the New Order YouTube channel. Can you refresh our memory? Tell us about yourself and what is your role with New Order and Motherboard?
Yeah, hey guys. So indeed, it's my second time coming back. So, originally, from more so like a traditional finance background, but a year and a half ago, I took the leap with the New Order guys, and since been the head of growth here for over a year. Seems like forever, but it's been a little bit over a year. So yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you here. So tell us what inspired you to create this all-in-one DAO tooling platform.
Yeah, so being from a traditional finance background and actually doing my master's in accounting and in finance, I noticed that a lot of the traditional, let's say even accounting and generally organizational tooling for Web3 and decentralized organizations were just simply missing. And being a contributor in various DAOs and being on the founding teams of multiple as well, I recognized that issue and really wanted to find a solution for it that would be really solving the generalized lack of efficiency, I'd say, in organizational management of Web3 organizations.
I see, I see. So, in terms of um, operational efficiency, what are some gaps you see in the current DAO space?
Yeah, there's a lot of hyper specialization in some of the tooling that's available. Whereas, like, if you would like to compensate your contributors, there's like 15 different tools for you to do that. But if you also like to participate in governance, there's also, five, seven different tools that allow you to do that. If you want to have a multi-sig, hence, another one of those where you have multiple solutions available, but none are fully encompassing where you are able to utilize all of those organizational tools that are honestly extremely important, or I would say the core basis of operating a decentralized organization. You can't find those in a succinct single platform where you don't have to hop through multiple hoops, and you can just use one single platform for all of those solutions.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what I'm hearing is that DAO needs a mission control, just to this all-in-one approach is aim to, freeze up the time previous spending on synchronizing operations. So yeah, I think that's a valuable position I can definitely be on board with. So far, I think we've been suggesting that products is tailored towards DAOs. What about the companies that has a plan to decentralize in the future, but now just getting started?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. I think from the perspective of Motherboard, we want to be that tool that is that go-to for on-chain compensation and for really opening up yourself to becoming a decentralized organization with varying steps of development, right? Like you don't have to even have a token, you don't have to operate as a DAO to be able to use Motherboard, as we're offering many services of being able to succinctly compensate anyone who is contributing to the DAO, whether that is under the label of an employee or actual contributor. So that's perfectly fine. We just want to be that platform that allows you to decentralize if you would like to, and decentralize in a way which is the most efficient without having to do a lot of due diligence on these various tools and find which one works for you. We do believe that Motherboard would be able to cover all of those needs regardless of kind of the level of decentralization.
Excellent. So let's get into a bit more detail about the product itself. Tell us the key features and functionalities. I think you already touched on accounting and the contributor management. What else is on Motherboard? And as a DAO operators, why do I care about those features?
Yeah, so I can split it quickly into kind of two schemes, right? One of which is your interaction with the platform from the perspective of being a operator or an admin, and another one from being an actual contributor in your particular domain, in your particular role. So from the perspective of being an admin, you're able to create a multi-sig or use a created multi-sig of, let's say Gnosis to create your organization where you're able to then onboard whether those are already existing contributors or employees to your venture, or it is seeking out new applicants based of role parameters or whatever parameters you would like, you're able to set those. And that is like the first step to being introduced, right, to onboarding those contributors. And then after they are onboarded, oftentimes the contributors would need to be compensated in various capacities, right? Whether that is like on a bounty basis, whether that is biweekly, monthly, or like a full-time kind of engagement. So you're able to build those payment plans for those contributors in a way that is convenient for the particular group that you're compensating, right? If it is someone who's contributing in the form of a bounty, they finished a certain task on a certain project, they're able to request compensation and show a description of what exactly they did, when they would like to get compensated, when have they completed the task. And it would be very easy for the operator to notice it, approve it or reject it, and compensate or hence not compensate. But if it's someone who is more on a full-time basis, likewise, the admin would be able to set continuous payments, let's say on a biweekly or monthly basis, and ensure that they don't have to get in there, on the 30th of every month and then create those compensation requests in a very like tedious manner, and then they would be actually automatically generated. But note that those compensation requests actually wouldn't prompt a actual transaction, right? To ensure that, for example, you maybe forgot to delete a certain payment plan and then it generated a transaction, it will not auto execute, right? Like you will have to go and accept it, and then you would, yeah, and then you could actually send out the payments on chain. And this is kind of that financialized flow, and then steaming from the financialized flow, right? You need a certain level of accounting that allows you to automate some of that financial analytics that you might have internally, where you don't have to pull out your trusty Excel and go through Excel. Very mundane, very I would say inefficient from the perspective of operating like a very innovative entity in such a fast moving space. So you are able to generate those essentially outflows based on various labels, tags, roles, and actually see how big of an effect does this have on my runway, and what is the monthly spend based on role. Are there any reasons why we should expand spending in particular roles, or decrease spending in others? And this kind of concludes that like value flow of the financialized portion. Uh, in addition to that, we also have a governance module, which is a direct implementation of Snapshot. And in the future, we'll also have Governor in there for on-chain execution. And then there's also interesting ways of linking Gnosis Safe and Snapshot for on-chain execution as well. Gnosis Safe has those apps conveniently available already. So just a matter of time until we introduce on-chain governance. And then soon we will have asset management, and we will also have a encrypted chat available. The way we're looking at this chat is from a perspective of business development, as opposed to social conversations, where this is the place for you to reach out to other DAOs and know that you're reaching out to a actual organization and an actual representative from that organization, and not just a potential impersonator. And we all know that where that could potentially lead. So we want to abstract that portion and actually ensure that when operators chat or BD people chat, they know that they're genuinely talking to a representative of another DAO. Right. So there's a lot more, but I think we'll dive deeper once we continue our conversation here.
Yeah, that's super helpful. Motherboard is not just helping with the internal operations, but also the business development, the inter-DAO communications. That's really exciting. And you mentioned the asset management as well. I think because Motherboard is like integrating the whole value flow within a DAO, so essentially they can become a treasury manager for all the DAOs. And then I kind of want you to expand that point on that point. How do you achieving the asset management part?
Yeah. The way that we look at it is DAOs need prudence and yeah, very prudent, I would say, asset allocations where they can choose and they know that the assets or the strategies that they're allocating their treasury towards are indeed battle tested and are preserving the capital of the organization. But at the same time, we would like to leave access to various strategies that maybe are more focused on treasury expansion, right? So this is where our integration with sector finance comes in, where they have built a automated risk model that automates asset allocations based off the risk parameters that the user is comfortable with, right? So it's essentially a risk tranched asset manager where the DAOs are able to allocate their assets based off these various risk tranches, based off their liking, and know that that their assets in the particular tranche are always going to be abiding by the rules of that risk engine that allocated to that particular risk type or risk level, right? So we want to be able to be that sinkhole for DAOs, not to have to search the vast realms of DeFi to look at maybe some very obscure strategies. We believe that DAOs should focus on prudent treasury allocation, and we would like to offer that venue for their interests and for their assets.
That sounds great. This DAO treasury management function is to offload a lot of pressure from the treasury managers and perhaps like generate potential returns for those DAO treasuries. That's great. So, on a point of integration, I think you're achieving this function through integration. What are some other integrations that's on the roadmap right now?
Yeah, like the way we're really looking at this is we want to create like a basis platform for DAO operators and contributors to have for their disposal, where even builders who are building, as I was mentioning in the beginning of our conversation, like very, I would say very direct and very isolated, solutions to problems. We would like them to integrate with us and then offer their tooling to a much wider audience and actually service a much larger target group, and everyone benefits off it as we as a platform are growing. The builders of those tools are able to integrate in a pool of DAOs that can use their tooling, and we're actually creating this like ubiquitous platform for operation that creates this force of efficient organizations where Web3 organizations shouldn't look at decentralization from the perspective of impeding operational efficiency. Actually, flat organizations with the right tooling are able to achieve very similar results as to vertical top line integrated traditional businesses, and we truly believe so. It's just a matter of tooling, which we are very interested in building and really want to embark on.
That sounds great. Is there a plan for multi-chain deployment?
Yeah, so at the get-go, we are available on all EVM chains. I'd say the only one that we aren't actually is Avalanche, which is soon to be integrated. But Arbitrum, Optimism, Polygon, Mainnet, of course, is all available. Where users are, for example, if the organization has three safes on three different networks, they're able to add all three safes in and then interact with all of those safes from a single dashboard, as opposed to looking for which particular safe is that transaction originating, where do I have to sign it, I have to go find it and execute it. Well, here you can just preemptively add all of your saves, and you would see all of the transactions that need any sort of action for you available on the dashboard, and hence like the EVM component becomes like one single ecosystem instead of looking at it as five six different chains. You are able to interact with all of your saves from a single dashboard.
Awesome. Sounds like a lot more integrations, developments, and key features on the roadmap there. So I wonder, ultimately, as a part of the founding team of Motherboard, what is the vision? What's your vision for us, or what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah, so when I grow up, I really do think that Motherboard could be that like one-stop shop for all decentralized organizations to have as a starting point, and as a point of working on the DAO and as a point of growing with that DAO, right? So we don't want to cover only one certain aspect, which is like, let's say, onboarding. We don't want to cover just operations, and we don't want to cover only growth, right? Like we want to be in all three of those basis points where each DAO is able to service all of their needs within one single platform and doesn't have to roam around the various tools that are available, and to do like due diligence on them and port people over from one platform to another whenever a new update comes, or what have you. We really want to be that one-stop solution for DAOs to get onboarded, grow, work, and be able to service all of their needs. And that vision can only be manifested via co-working together, and integrations, and working with other builders who are building very interesting solutions and implementing them into Motherboard, and creating this kind of equal playing field, or like a fundamental Lego block on top of which other tooling providers are able to build, and other contributors are able to work.
That's very well put. I think people in the DAO space will definitely resonate with this vision. Tell me, what's the stage of the company? Is there a demo available?
Yeah, so we are already live on Optimism, Arbitrum, and Mainnet. Some of the next couple of weeks, we'll be introducing the chat, we'll be introducing a Discord integration, a Twitter integration, a bunch of stuff. To be honest, you just have to keep up with the Twitter. I think we have a bunch of announcements coming up there. And then from the perspective of a demo, if you would go to our landing page, it's kind of straight in the middle, book a demo, be happy to chat with you, and show you what we have cooking. If you're a tooling provider, likewise, we'll be really happy to talk with you, and talk integrations. If you're a DAO operator or contributor, we'll be really happy to show you the demo, and see if you guys like the system and you would like to get onboarded, we'd be happy to hold your hand along the integration period.
Nice, nice. Last question. What's the best way to get in touch with Motherboard team?
Yeah, so I think in the description we will drop the landing page, our Twitter, and then there's a Calendly on the landing page, which is probably the easiest way to chat with us. Pick a convenient time for you, and we'll hop on, and walk you through it. Or alternatively, if you'd just like to, have a chat, just DM us on Twitter. We'll get back to you, and we can set something up that way. So, whatever is your liking, all of those social media platforms are perfectly fine with us.
Awesome. So this has been fantastic. Thank you, Che, for joining us. For the audience, if you have like additional questions, or you're interested in partnerships, integrations with Motherboard, feel free to reach out to us. And make sure you follow us on socials to stay updated with new order.